Welcome back to another explainer. Look, if you've spent any time in the digital asset space lately, you already know the crypto exchange market is, well, it's insanely crowded. It's cutthroat out there. But somehow, amid all the noise and brutal bear markets, one platform called Bitget has managed to break through and stack up over 120 million registered users worldwide. That's literally a massive chunk of the market. So today, we're decoding exactly how they pull this off. We're going to break down their strategy, their ecosystem, and the specific innovations that turn them into an absolute powerhouse.
Before we get into the weeds, I want to hit you with a question that really gets at the core of modern investing. How do you trade global assets from a single account? Think about it. Right now, your portfolio is probably scattered everywhere. You've got an app for stocks, a different one for crypto, maybe a separate brokerage for commodities, plus whatever decentralized wallets you're juggling. You're bouncing between platforms, bleeding cash on transfer fees, and honestly, losing track of the big picture. It is totally exhausting. But what if you just didn't have to do that? Keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this.
All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle this in 5 parts. First, the challenger platform. Second, the beginner's cheat code. Third, securing the foundation. Fourth, the universal exchange, or UEX. And finally, the economic engine.
Starting off with Section 1, the Challenger Platform, the rise of Bitget.
You have to remember, Bitget absolutely did not have a first-mover advantage. They launched in Singapore back in 2018, smack in the middle of a brutal crypto winter. They literally had to rewrite the playbook to survive. Just look at the sheer velocity of this growth. Over 120 million users across 200-plus countries and regions. But honestly, the wildest stat here is that futures volume. They are consistently ranking in the global top 3, moving hundreds of billions in quarterly volume. This isn't just retail hype, guys. Volume like that means they've got massive liquidity, incredibly tight spreads, and the back-end tech to handle over 100,000 transactions per second without buckling when the market goes crazy. Oh, and they supercharged all of this global reach by partnering with icons like Lionel Messi, which brilliantly pushed digital assets right into the mainstream living room.
Let's move on to Section 2, the beginner's cheat code, copy trading.
Okay, so how do you onboard that many users that quickly? Simple. You completely lower the barrier to entry. Bitget was actually one of the pioneers of one-click copy trading, and they've built this massive ecosystem around it. It's basically a 3-step process that totally demystifies trading. Step 1, you pick an elite trader. And no, you're not guessing. You get to see their exact ROI, their max drawdown, their win rate. It's all completely transparent. Step 2, you stay in the driver's seat by setting your own risk parameters. You pick your max investment, your stop loss, your leverage. Then step 3, you just let it auto-sync. Whenever that elite trader makes a move, your account mirrors it instantly. It completely removes that terrifying learning curve of technical analysis.
To really wrap your head around the scale of this thing, check this out. There are over 100,000 elite traders sharing their strategies on this platform right now. It creates this incredible flywheel effect. The pros are motivated to crush it because they get a cut of their followers' profits, and everyday users get to piggyback on institutional-grade strategies without staring at candlestick charts all day long. It's a win-win.
That brings us to Section 3, securing the foundation, safety and transparency.
Of course, all these flashy trading tools mean absolutely nothing if the platform isn't safe. And let's be real, crypto investors have every right to be paranoid. Trust shouldn't just be a tweet. It has to be mathematically verifiable. So Bitget publishes these transparent monthly Merkle Tree Proof of Reserves audits, and right now, they're sitting at a 163% reserve ratio. Let that sink in. For every single dollar you deposit, they hold over $1.60 in reserve. It completely takes a bank run off the table and proves they aren't secretly leveraging your assets behind the scenes.
On top of that, over 95% of user funds are locked up in cold wallets. We're talking entirely offline, physically unplugged from the internet, locked down with multi-signature authorization. Contrast that with hot wallets, which are connected online and, inherently vulnerable to hackers. By keeping the vast majority of those assets offline, they are drastically shrinking their attack surface for cyber threats.
And hey, if a true black swan event actually happens, they have a $300 million user protection fund. $300 million, made up of Bitcoin and USDT. It is literally one of the biggest self-funded insurance pools in the entire crypto industry. It's a very real, very tangible safety net for their users in extreme market events. Moving to Section 4, the Universal Exchange, or UEX.
All right, foundation secured. Now let's look at the strategy that is fundamentally flipping the script. Remember that whole headache of juggling a million apps I mentioned earlier? UEX is Bitget's fix for that. They're merging traditional finance and DeFi right into one slick interface. You can trade over 800 cryptocurrencies right next to tokenized real-world assets like Nvidia or Tesla. You want Forex? They have it. Commodities like gold and silver? Done. And here's the kicker. You do all of this using one single margin account settled in stablecoins like USDT, running 24/7. It completely obliterates the friction of dealing with legacy brokerages.
And if you're sitting there wondering, is anyone actually using this hybrid model? Well, the numbers are wild. In Q1 of 2026, nearly 40% of Bitget's total trading volume came from non-crypto assets. Almost half. People are eating this up. It just proves how fast Web3 natives and traditional investors alike are migrating toward this kind of unified wealth-building setup.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, the economic engine, BGB token and fees. To really understand the ecosystem, we have to look under the hood at their internal economics. A native token is basically the heartbeat of a crypto platform, and Bitget made a seriously aggressive play with their BGB token to reward loyalty. They started with an original supply of 2 billion tokens, but they initiated this massive burn strategy to slash the target supply down to just 800 million. That is a 60% reduction. By systematically burning tokens using their platform revenue, they're creating hardcore artificial scarcity, which obviously supports the long-term value narrative for anyone holding the token.
But holding BGB isn't just a speculative of play. It's extremely practical. Base spot trading fees are already dirt cheap at 0.1%, but if you pay those fees using BGB, you instantly get another 20% discount. Stack that with their VIP system, which chops rates even more for the big whales and institutions, and you've got some of the lowest friction costs anywhere. Add in zero fees for crypto deposits and totally free P2P fiat gateways, and it's obvious they're doing everything possible to compress trading costs and keep that liquidity pumping.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quote from Bitget CEO Gracie Chen that I think really hits the nail on the head. She said, "The future of finance will not be built on having to choose between traditional and digital assets." Think about the implications of that for a second. For decades, our money has been trapped in these little walled gardens, different rules, different brokers, different tech. What we're looking at here isn't just another crypto exchange adding some bells and whistles. It's a glimpse into a totally borderless, unified financial system. So the question you have to ask yourself is, as those walls between Wall Street and Web3 keep crumbling down, are your current investing tools ready for a world where absolutely everything can be traded in one place? Thanks for hanging out with me today to unpack all of this source material. Stay curious, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.